Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, opening your banking app, and realizing something strange. Your savings are growing, your investments are growing, and for the first time in your life, money isn't something that constantly disappears. Instead, it's something that slowly multiplies. Now, most people think this only happens to the lucky few, people who start companies, people who inherit money, or people who somehow pick the perfect stock. But here's the interesting part. Research on self-made millionaires shows that most of them didn't build their wealth through one big moment. They built it through small habits repeated over many years, habits that look almost boring on the surface, but when practiced consistently, they quietly create financial momentum, and over time, that momentum becomes wealth. In fact, researcher Thomas Corley, who spent 5 years studying the daily routines of wealthy individuals, discovered something fascinating. About 88% of self-made millionaires follow consistent daily habits related to money. Not secret tricks, not complicated strategies, just repeatable behaviors. So today, we're going to break down 7 money habits that helped millions of people build real wealth. And if you start applying even a few of them, you might be surprised how quickly your financial life begins to change. Let's start with the first habit. The first habit is something called paying yourself first. Now, most people treat saving money like an afterthought. They pay rent, they pay their mortgage, they pay bills, they buy groceries, they spend on entertainment, and then at the end of the month, if anything is left over, they try to save it. But the problem is obvious. For most people, nothing is left. Millionaires flip this entire system. Instead of saving what remains, they save first. The moment their paycheck arrives, a portion of it automatically moves into savings or investments, sometimes 10%, sometimes 20%, sometimes even more. And the reason this works is psychological. When the money never sits in your spending account, you naturally learn to live on what remains. Over time, this one habit quietly builds financial security in the background, and most people underestimate how powerful that becomes after a few years. The second habit is something surprisingly simple. Millionaires track their money. Now, that might sound boring, but think about this. Most people have no clear idea where their money goes every month. Small purchases slowly drain their account. Coffee on the way to work, food delivery, streaming subscriptions, random online shopping. Individually, none of these purchases feel huge, but together they quietly add up. Wealthy individuals tend to treat money differently. They treat it like a system. They track income, they track expenses, they track investments. Because once you can clearly see where your money is going, you gain control over it. And today, tracking money is easier than ever. A simple budgeting app or spreadsheet can reveal patterns you never noticed before. Sometimes the biggest financial breakthroughs come from simply becoming aware of your spending. The third habit is something many people overlook early in their career. Millionaires invest in their skills. Now, when people first start earning money, there's usually a strong temptation to upgrade their lifestyle. A nicer car, a better apartment, new gadgets. But wealthy individuals often take a different approach. Instead of spending every extra dollar, they invest it into increasing their earning power. They buy books, they take courses, they develop valuable skills. Because here's the truth most people don't realize. The fastest way to increase your income is usually not through investments. It's by becoming more valuable in the marketplace. When your skills improve, your opportunities expand. Better jobs, higher pay, business opportunities. And once your income grows, saving and investing becomes dramatically easier. The fourth habit is understanding long-term investing. Now, this is where many beginners make a mistake. They think wealth comes from finding one investment that suddenly explodes in value, maybe a stock that doubles overnight, or a cryptocurrency that skyrockets. But most millionaires don't rely on lucky bets. Instead, they focus on consistency. For example, many investors regularly invest in broad market index funds that track the overall stock market. Historically, the U.S. stock market has returned around 7 to 10% annually over long periods after inflation. Now, that might not sound exciting, but when combined with time, something incredible happens: compound growth. Imagine investing a few $100s every month for decades. Over time, those small contributions begin to snowball. Interest generates more interest, and eventually the growth becomes exponential. This is why time in the market often matters more than timing the market. The fifth habit is something quietly separates wealthy people from everyone else. Millionaires avoid lifestyle inflation. Here's what usually happens when someone gets a raise. They upgrade their car, they move into a larger home, they start spending more on restaurants, vacations, and luxury items. Suddenly, their expenses grow just as fast as their income, and despite earning more money, they feel just as financially stressed as before. Wealthy individuals often do the opposite. Even when their income increases, they keep their lifestyle relatively stable. Instead of spending the extra money, they invest it. This creates a powerful gap between income and expenses, and that gap becomes the engine of wealth building. The sixth habit is about avoiding bad debt. Now, not all debt is harmful. Certain types of debt, like mortgages or business loans, can potentially help build assets, but high-interest consumer debt is extremely dangerous. Credit cards, for example, often carry interest rates between 18 and 25% in countries like the United States and Canada. At those rates, debt compounds just as aggressively as investments, except it works against you. Instead of your money growing, your debt grows. Wealthy individuals understand this, which is why they either avoid consumer debt entirely or eliminate it quickly, because the fastest way to move forward financially is to stop digging deeper holes. And finally, the seventh habit might be the most powerful one of all. Millionaires think long-term. Most people focus on what money can buy today: a new phone, a nicer car, a weekend getaway. But wealthy individuals tend to focus on what money can create decades from now: financial independence, freedom to choose how they spend their time, security for their families. And that shift in perspective changes everything. Because when you think long-term, small financial decisions suddenly become much more important. Saving today becomes easier when you realize it's building freedom for the future. Investing becomes easier when you understand the power of time, and slowly your mindset begins to change. The truth is, wealth is rarely built through one massive decision. It's built through hundreds of small decisions repeated consistently. Paying yourself first, tracking your money, investing in your skills, investing consistently, avoiding lifestyle inflation, staying away from bad debt, and thinking long-term. None of these habits are complicated, but together they create something incredibly powerful: financial momentum. And once momentum starts building, money begins working with you instead of against you. So if there's one thing to remember from this video, it's this: don't focus on trying to get rich overnight. Focus on building the habits that make wealth almost inevitable, because once those habits become part of your life, your financial future stops feeling random and it starts becoming something you control.